Hi, my name is David Miner, and welcome to the volunteer orientation for the Canadian Centre for Men and Families in Vancouver. I'm the executive director, and this purpose of this orientation is to give you some background on our organization, nationally and locally, what we have done in the past, what we're doing now, and a little bit about our volunteers and what you can expect. So the Canadian Association for Equality, or CAFE, was founded in 2011 by Justin Trottier, who's our national director, and is our parent charity. The goal of CAFE is to bring equality to all Canadians, and they decided to focus on helping men and boys, as there weren't, and still aren't, many resources available for men despite poor outcomes that they face. For example, in Canada, 75% of completed suicides are men, 75% of drug overdoses are men, and men in Canada live on average 4.7 years less than women. Men also experience more violence in relationships than women. Now, this might come as a surprise to some people because 80 to 90% of police reports of domestic violence are the women reporting the male as being the abuser. But according to the Canadian General Social Survey, around 4% of men reported situations of abuse from their partners, and women, it was around 3%. So that's statistically significant difference. And the reason that we don't know as much about it is because there's less injuries when the women are abusive, and also because there's less services and support for men and more stigma around being victims of abuse in relationships. Despite having great need and disproportionately poor outcomes, there aren't a lot of services for men. The list is long, but I'll just highlight a few here. So for example, in Canada, there's over 4,000 transition houses for women experiencing domestic violence, and there's only one for men that I know of, which is run by CCMF, and it's in Toronto. And this is pictured here. Virtually all major cities in Canada have a government-funded women's center, whereas almost none have a resource center for men. And as far as I'm aware, there's only one program for men who have been victims of domestic abuse in Canada, which was developed and currently run by CCMF as well. The Canadian Centre for Men and Families is Vancouver's hub for boys, men, fathers, and families. We proactively foster healthy boys and men by filling critical gaps in men's services that reduce male suicide, empower fathers undergoing separation and divorce, and help boys and men heal from trauma. We support, empower, and advocate for men before, during, and after a crisis, and in a safe, open, inclusive, and supportive environment. To get an understanding of the timeline of events of CAFE and CCMF, we were founded in 2011. In 2014, they opened the first men's center in Toronto. In 2019, they opened the first center in Calgary. And in 2020, CCMF Vancouver began offering some online services. This was also the year that CCMF York opened their doors. And in 2021, CCMF Toronto opened the first shelter for men and families in Canada. Some of the programs that we have here in CCMF Vancouver, we have the men's peer support groups. Now, these groups are open to men from all across Canada, but they're run and facilitated by our volunteers in BC. We have a young men's peer support group, which is also focused on BC and serves men, or sorry, I should say boys or adolescents aged 13 to 18. And we have our Nexus Recovery Group, which is for men who've experienced abuse or violence in relationships, which is primarily focused in Calgary, but is also open to other provinces. So there's participants from BC and Toronto in that group as well. And we have a legal clinic in BC, which is for BC residents only, and counseling in BC that is for BC residents only. And some of the other branches have their own programs that are province specific as well. Some client testimonials. So for example, one of our youth participants said, "Thanks for the great meeting last night. It meant a lot to me. Looking forward to next week." Another youth participant said, "The group is one of the only places I found men talking about their feelings in a healthy way." And one of our adult participants in the support group said, "I really appreciate the men's group support because it helped me feel not to feel alone. I feel I'm a part of a community of men who can understand the trauma of being in an abusive relationship, and to have to face a society that doesn't understand women can be mean to men too. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for the support of CCMF Vancouver and all the volunteers." So now I'm going to show you a video from some client stories from our Ontario branches.
I would say somebody that was in my position now, that I thought that I was at a point of no return. I was at a point of almost suicidal thoughts. And I would say to anybody that feels hopeless, that it feels that they can't get any help, there is a place for help. And you don't have to pay, and the people are actually caring. They will give you support, they will put you on a regiment, and you will get help.
Having all the services in one place has helped tremendously in reducing the stress of an already stressful situation. Everything is very thorough and in-depth.
I was really happy when I did contact the Canadian Centre for Men and Families. That there was a program that was designed specifically for men that were in my situation. And even just finding out that there was an agency dedicated to helping men.
My financial situation wasn't that good, and I found out that it was free. I didn't expect too much in the beginning, but since I've been coming, I've noticed that my relationship with my family has gotten a lot better. I've been a lot calmer in dealing with people, and it also has helped me to open bonds between my parents, especially my father.
At the center, we're changing public perceptions about men.
I wasn't concerned that I wouldn't be taken seriously. However, after I left the relationship, I did go to the police and I wasn't taken seriously. The nature of the violence was there was a lot of emotional abuse, verbal abuse, that eventually escalated into physical abuse, including being approached, attacked with a knife at one point in time.
I was in a lot of distress due to a recent divorce, and I was looking for a place that offered support for fathers going through these issues.
Over the years, I had grown a lot of resentment against my father, and that resentment turned to not only against my father, but against everyone else in my family and against the world. And in turn, it gave me a bad attitude against in my life perspective in general, and to the point that it was affecting my work, my health, and everybody around me.
There were some challenges for me thinking about talking about my story in front of other people, and particularly strangers. One of the interesting things for me was how quickly, as I said, we came together and just felt very comfortable with each other, and it became very easy to tell my story to them. And as a matter of fact, I get deeper and deeper. And one of the things I get out of this program is I actually start realizing more things about my story when I listen to other men's stories. So in coming into this group has been very powerful for me, and I'd really recommend it to anybody who's experienced any kind of domestic violence or abuse, that they look into this program.
The legal clinic has been a tremendous help. They are able to provide the insight that I need when I'm confused about a certain issue, and it also helps that it's a group setting in which I can observe other people's angles of dealing with a situation, and the lawyers are very, very knowledgeable, very friendly, and it feels like a casual setting. So it helps in relaxing us and opening up more.
I was really happy to find the Canadian Centre for Men and Families, and I was surprised and elated to learn that they provided services well beyond just counseling for men who have experienced violence in their relationships. There's also individual counseling. They have mental health programs. They look after fathers, or have programs for fathers who are separated from their children, and there's financial and legal assistance as well.
I've had a lot of growth since coming here. There's a lot of things I would have handled differently had I known what I know now. Hearing about how other fathers in the groups have responded to their situations, it has provided me a lot of insight and very valuable information.
If I had not gotten help, I don't know where I would be today, honestly, and I'm forever in debt to you all at the Men's Center.
So those are some of the stories from the men who've accessed services in Ontario. And now I'm going to share about our volunteer team. Our volunteers are the lifeblood of what we do, because we do offer a lot of free and low cost services, and we're a nonprofit with you know, it's hard to get grants and donations, And so our volunteers really basically provide most of the services that we offer. They come from all walks of life and they volunteer for different reasons, but the one thing that they have in common is that they're very passionate and they care about helping men, and they're really wonderful people. Without them, we can't do what we do. And every couple months or so, we have meetings where we get together and just connect socially and build the team feeling. So this is a picture of our volunteers at my house, where we had one of our outdoor, on my porch, kind of social gatherings, and just getting to know each other and sharing some life together. So as a volunteer with CCMF, there's expectations that you abide by a code of conduct and policies, complete your duties as described in the volunteer job description, which is particular to what volunteer role you're playing, attend volunteer meetings. So the bi-monthly ones are more social, they're not mandatory, but there are other meetings that are related to your specific role, which you'll be required to attend, act professionally and ethically, and ask questions if you don't know what to do. So part of being a volunteer is getting trained and getting support, and we want to be here for you. And there's no such thing as a dumb question. So if you have a question, ask your direct supervisor or myself. Some of the benefits of being a volunteer is you can give back to the community, gain valuable experiences and training opportunities, expand your professional network, and get a reference letter for applications. If you do want to get a reference letter, we ask you volunteer for at least 6 months or equivalent, which is around 24 hours of volunteering, just so that we can get to know you, your work ethic, and give you a reference with integrity. So the onboarding steps, you're about halfway. You already finished the application, interview, reference checks, and once you finish this video, you'll be done the orientation. Then you can, once you return the signed volunteer agreement and volunteer job description to me, then you'll be passed on to your direct supervisor, where you'll be trained, and then you can get into active volunteering. So if you have any questions, you can direct them towards me, and I'll follow up as soon as I can. I'm looking forward to having you with us on our team, and thank you for watching this orientation. And again, if you have any questions, you can follow up and send me an email or give me a call.